After marrying Lynn Rand, I had a terrible car accident. My parents had gone abroad on vacation after Lynn Rand and I got married, so I didn't tell them to avoid worrying them. So I called my newlywed wife, Lynn Rand, and asked her to come to the hospital. I waited at the hospital for a full 2 hours, growing more and more angry, and my head started to feel dizzy. Just as I couldn't help but want to call Lynn Rand again, she rushed in. The usual coldness was gone from her face, and she looked quite anxious. As soon as she came in, she asked, "Are you okay?" I suppressed the dizziness and throbbing in my head and said sarcastically to her, "The hospital is so close. You could have walked here in an hour, but your highness has finally arrived." I didn't hear Lynn Rand's reply. Instead, a man in a suit walked in from outside the door. He wore an apologetic expression, and his voice was also tinged with apology and annoyance. "Don't blame President Lynn. It's all my fault. I'm new to the company and messed up an urgent proposal. President Lynn was helping me, which is why she was late." I asked Lynn Rand with a confused expression, "Who is he?" Lynn Rand looked at the man and then said to me, "He's Jiang Lin, my newly hired assistant. The previous assistant was fired for making a mistake." I glanced at Jiang Lin. He was good-looking, tall, and had the air of a pure college student. At first glance, you would think he was a newbie fresh out of society. However, the look he gave me wasn't exactly friendly. It was more like apology mixed with a strange provocation. I didn't pay too much attention to him and got up to leave the hospital room. Let's go home first." Lynn Rand helped me find our car, where the driver was already waiting. I got into the back seat, and Lynn Rand followed. Only Jiang Lin stood outside the car looking somewhat lost. Lynn Rand saw him, and her tone became a little more gentle. She said, "Get in, you can sit in the passenger seat. The driver will take you home later. It's almost the end of the workday, so you don't need to go back to the company." Jiang Lin smiled and thanked her, then opened the passenger seat door and got in. I was a little surprised. Lynn Rand had always been aloof, and except for her family and me, she always spoke with a cold face to everyone else. This was the first time I'd seen her be so gentle to someone she wasn't familiar with. The two of them talked about work the whole way, leaving me, a living person, to the side. Ever since the wedding night when Lynn Rand didn't come home all night, regardless of my feelings, we had been in a Cold War ever since. I really didn't understand how Lynn Rand, who had always been calm and rational, could do such a thing. Even when I questioned her the next day, she dismissed me with the excuse that it was a work-related matter. I had known Lynn Rand for over 20 years, growing up together since childhood. We only separated when we went to college. Later, I helped her a lot with her entrepreneurial journey. In fact, I built the platform for her business. Therefore, I knew all about her company's operations. If it weren't for the sake of our parents, I would have even considered divorcing her outright. I might have some affection for her, but it wasn't anything too profound. It was more the friendship and family ties that had developed over the years. It was just that both of our parents were urging us to get married, and she suddenly confessed her feelings to me. That's how we got married in such a muddled way. Since our argument, she had been working overtime at the company every day. I only saw her for a short while every few days. This car accident made me determined to have an open and honest talk with Lynn Rand. My head was dizzy, and shortly after the car started, I couldn't help but lean back in my seat and fall asleep. I felt like my body was still in the car, but my consciousness had drifted to somewhere else. I dreamed that I was actually just cannon fodder in a reverse harem novel, and Lynn Rand was the devoted second female lead. As for the male lead, it was Jiang Lin, whom I had just met. In the dream, I became jealous of Jiang Lin's closeness to Lynn Rand and his ability to gain her favor, so I began to target and frame him. I put a lot of obstacles in his way in the business world, but each time, Jiang Lin and Lynn Rand managed to overcome them. Eventually, Lynn Rand became extremely disappointed in me and divorced me, and my parents had already passed away. After the divorce, Jiang Lin began to retaliate against me. He used his position and relationship with Lynn Rand to ruin my company. After going bankrupt and being heavily in debt, I died a pauper. I jolted awake, realizing I had fallen asleep in the car. Lynn Rand was already looking at her computer beside me. Seeing me wake up, she reached out to touch my forehead, but I reflexively dodged. A hint of doubt flashed in her eyes at my reaction, and her delicate eyebrows furrowed slightly. but she immediately retracted her hand and said to me calmly, "You fell asleep as soon as we got on the road. I tried to wake you, but you were sleeping so deeply, so I had the driver take Lin home first. We've been waiting in the garage for half an hour now." Hearing this, I sat up and rubbed my throbbing head, trying to organize my thoughts. The dream I just had felt incredibly real. I could still recall the details. Thinking of this, I looked intently at Lin Ran. Could this be a warning to me? So I tentatively asked Lin Ran, what exactly is your relationship with Lin? Lin Ran's body stiffened, and her expression became somewhat unnatural. "Why are you suddenly asking about this?" She was clearly surprised by my sudden interest in her relationship with Lin. "Given your personality, you wouldn't be so concerned about a subordinate, nor would you be so close to him." I looked her in the eye and said very seriously, "We grew up together. I know you better than you think. Ran, I hope you'll be honest with me." To be honest, I had already prepared excuses for her in my mind as I spoke. As long as I could confirm that the events in the dream weren't true and that she really didn't have any other feelings for Lin, then I would continue to live happily with her, supporting her and protecting her, as I always had. Lin Ran's eyes darted around for a moment, but then she composed herself and explained how Lin is just my college classmate. He's new to the city and all alone. The reason I helped him solve his problem is that I didn't want it to affect the company's reputation. Originally, I was going to come see you as soon as I got the call, but he pleaded with me, and out of friendship, I couldn't refuse. Besides, he's really capable. I just didn't want the employees to think I was too aggressive and harsh after this mistake. Hearing this, I took a deep breath and sneered inwardly. If there really was nothing between her and Lin, then, based on Lin Ran's personality, she wouldn't have explained so much. She would have just given me a cold look and walked away. Sure enough, everything was just like in my dream. They were college classmates. However, Lin Ran was still hiding some things from me. In college, Lin Ran and Lin had coincidentally joined the same club. Lin was lively, loved sports, and was good-looking, so he was very popular with the girls. Lin Ran, due to her personality, was not as outgoing as others, but she was slowly drawn to the outgoing Lin, and despite this, the two of them had a lot of shipping fans, simply because Lin Ran was the president of the club and often helped Lin, who was prone to causing trouble, clean up his messes. So, the two of them were considered a golden couple in college. And Lin Ran had indeed been secretly in love with Lin all along. But just when Lin Ran had mustered the courage to confess, Lin suddenly got a girlfriend. Lin Ran gave up the idea and buried her love for Lin in her heart. As for me, I was just a convenient pawn that Lin Ran had pulled in to distract herself. She thought that as long as she got married, she would completely give up on Lin. Lin and his girlfriend were together for 2 years before breaking up. Later, he met the female lead. They fell in love and hated each other and eventually got married. As for me, I only appeared in a few chapters before getting a boxed lunch. The rest was all about the love triangle between the charming female lead, the domineering male lead, and the devoted second female lead. I didn't want to end up like I did in my dream. I didn't want to get involved in their disgusting relationships. I have my own career, my own family. I didn't want to be anyone's pawn, anyone's doormat. The only thing to do now is to quickly divorce Lin Ran to get away from them. I asked Lin Ran, "Did you confess to me back then because of him? Actually, the person you like in your heart is Lin, right? How about we get a divorce?" Lin Ran said when she confessed that she liked me, saying we grew up together, and I had always taken care of her like an older brother, which moved her deeply, and I also had feelings for her, so I agreed. But thinking about it now, she only talked about my care for her, saying I was like an older brother, never saying that she liked me in a romantic way. Lin Ran suddenly looked up at me upon hearing this. "How could you think like that? We are already married. The person I love is you. I am your wife." Lin Ran's tone was a bit urgent and stern. I don't know how you found out about these things. I admit that I used to like him, but that's in the past. My confession to you had nothing to do with him. Don't overthink it. I just want to live a good life with you now. Divorce is out of the question. Looking at the seriousness in Lin Ran's eyes, I ultimately didn't say anything. What she said wasn't wrong. Putting aside the entanglement of our interests, it would be difficult to explain to our parents. I need to wait a little longer. Perhaps because of what I said that day, Lynn Rand has been coming home more often recently. I've been thinking about expanding the company's business, preparing materials, and surveying the market. While also dealing with Lynn Rand, I inexplicably started to feel annoyed. I didn't even want her to come home, didn't want to see her, and even more, didn't want to face her. But these past 2 days, she hasn't been coming home often again. I thought about it carefully and realized it was the peak period for plot development. The male and female leads were starting to get entangled as the second female lead. How could Lynn Rand not participate? No wonder she hasn't been coming back. But this is fine too. I've been busy for many days and have almost finished preparing for the branch company. Lynn Rand still didn't come home today. After considering it, I drove to her company. The receptionist's eyes lit up when she saw me. "President Sue, you haven't been here in so long. Are you here to see President Lynn?" She showed a hesitant expression. I'm usually pretty good to the employees of Lynn Rand's company, giving them gifts and red envelopes during holidays, so her company's employees are also very friendly to me. Plus, I'm not bad-looking myself, just not the same style as Jiang Lin. In today's terms, if Jiang Lin is a puppy dog in the eyes of women, then I am a wolf waiting for an opportunity. If you have something to say it. Upon hearing this, the receptionist was a bit hesitant but still told me about the recent rumors in the company. "President Sue, you probably don't know since you haven't been here recently, but President Lin hired a new assistant, a man, and he's quite good-looking. The key is that we all feel that President Lin treats him differently. We guess that President Lin might be falling in love. The fact that I'm married to Lynn Rand hasn't been made public. People in the company only think we are friends and partners. I had considered whether to make it public and give out candy to the employees. Now it seems I'm lucky I didn't, or I would be drawn into their Shura field." "Oh? How so?" I asked. The receptionist looked mysterious. "A few days ago, Special Assistant Jiang had an argument with a lady in the lobby. That lady was actually the celebrity Zhao Xing. They argued fiercely, mainly saying that Special Assistant Jiang was ungrateful and let her down, and that she would make things difficult for him. She even went crazy and acted shamelessly in the company. But President Lin appeared like an angel at this time. Not only did she help Special Assistant Jiang break free from Zhao Xing, but she also said fiercely that Special Assistant Jiang was her person. Zhao Xing immediately pointed at President Lin and cursed, saying that President Lin was seducing Special Assistant Jiang, and that Special Assistant Jiang was going to be a kept man. But I think Zhao Xing probably won't give up and said she won't let President Lin off the hook. After this incident, President Lin was afraid that Special Assistant Jiang would be pestered again, so she specially arranged for someone to pick up and drop off Special Assistant Jiang from work. After listening to the gossip, I was stunned. Zhao? Isn't that the female lead? But why isn't Jiang Lin with the female lead? And why did things get so bad between him and the female lead? But I didn't think too much about it, just smiled at the receptionist and entered the elevator. Arriving at Lynn Rand's office, I was originally going to knock on the door. But the moment I raised my hand, I noticed that the door wasn't closed tightly and had a gap. I pushed it open a little and heard a sound coming from inside. I looked carefully and wow, they were hugging. Lynn Rand was struggling in Jiang Lin's arms, and Jiang Lin had a look of pain on his face. Ran, have you really forgotten about us from back then? I know you like me too. Why can't we be together now?" Upon hearing this, Lynn Rand struggled even more violently, but her face was filled with sadness. "Jiang Lin, I'm already married. I am a married woman now. The past is in the past. Don't say any more." Jiang Lin hugged Lynn Rand even tighter upon hearing this. "No, that's not true. As long as we still love each other, everything will be fine." Lynn Rand lightly pushed Jiang Lin away upon hearing this. "Don't say any more. I'm already married, Lin. Let's keep our distance. You've already fallen in love with Zhao Xing, right?" Jiang Lin looked very serious and solemn upon hearing this. "No, I don't like her. I haven't liked her for a long time. I've already made it clear to her. I have nothing to do with her anymore. Ran, the only person I love now is you." Lynn Rand's expression softened a lot upon hearing this, but she still said, "I'm already married. Lin, let's still keep our distance." I stood outside the door, holding my phone in one hand and recording, and hearing Lynn Rand's words, I felt something collapse inside me. A dull pain also came from my chest. It's not that I really love Lynn Ran that much, but I can't deny that I do have feelings for her. Lynn Ran has always been a cold and self-possessed image in my mind, but her current words and actions are exactly like a scumbag. I felt a pain in my heart, as if something I had insisted on for a long time had suddenly collapsed. But I was also glad that I hadn't become hopelessly infatuated with her, as I had in my dream. I came back to my senses and looked through the crack in the door again, and the two of them were hugging each other again. Lynn Ran leaned against Jiang Lin's arms like a little bird. She struggled symbolically a couple of times before snuggling into Jiang Lin's arms. Ran, do you love your husband? If you've already fallen in love with him now, then I'll stay away from you. I don't want to be a villain who interferes in other people's relationships and cuckolds them. Lynn Ran heard this and looked satisfied in Jiang Lin's arms. Lynn, give me some time. I'll discuss the divorce with him. We got married in a hurry anyway. And besides, there's not much love between him and me. I believe he'll understand. Jiang Lin visibly cheered up when he heard this, and finally couldn't help but kiss Lynn Ran. At this time, I had completely lost the filter of many years of acquaintance with Lynn Ran. She was a complete scumbag, but she had to make herself sound so helpless. This made my original intention to get a divorce even more firm. However, the male protagonist is a bit strange. Isn't he supposed to be passionately in love with the female protagonist right now? Why would he suddenly break off the relationship with the female protagonist? Just as I was thinking, I noticed someone coming this way. I looked around at the surrounding offices and found that they were all locked. In a moment of desperation, I turned into the bathroom next door. Anyway, I've been standing here for so long, it wouldn't hurt to take a leak, right? After I finished, I heard a commotion outside. Only then did I learn that the female protagonist, Zhao Xing, had come. I don't know how she snuck in and even came up to the top floor, but now, the three of them were in the middle of a heated, chaotic scene. I didn't want to join in the fun at this time, so I thought about staying in the bathroom for a while longer. The quarrel outside gradually subsided, and just as I was about to push the door open, I heard footsteps approaching. Thinking that it would be embarrassing to run into someone now, I turned into one of the stalls, thinking that to avoid unnecessary trouble, I would wait for the person to leave before going out. But I didn't know that the person who came in was Jiang Lin. He first ran some water and then talked to himself in front of the mirror. Zhao Xing, in this life, I will never look back. Jiang Lin, you have to remember that you were killed by Zhao Xing and her family of bloodsuckers in your last life. In this life, don't be fooled by her affectionate and gentle appearance. Hearing Jiang Lin's words, I felt a little strange. What last life? Could it be that Jiang Lin he was reborn? Lin Ran is the one who treats you well and loves you deeply. If you are with her, you can take revenge on that woman Zhao Xing, and you will never have to live that poor life in the last life again. At this time, I in the bathroom didn't even dare to breathe too heavily. Jiang Lin was really reborn. It seemed that even after the ending of a revenge novel, he couldn't escape reality. The female protagonist actually cheated in the later stages, and from the sound of it, she even joined forces with her family to harm Jiang Lin. So Jiang Lin wants Lin Ran, the female supporting character who has silently loved him all her life. No wonder, according to the plot, he should be in another city, passionately in love with the female protagonist. How could he come to Lin Ran's company so quickly? It seems that he dumped the female protagonist after being reborn. Then he rushed to find Lin Ran. Jiang Lin muttered to himself outside for a while before leaving. I left the company after he did. I went to a cafe near the company and called Lin Ran out. Lin Ran arrived and sat opposite me. Looking preoccupied, I knew she was thinking about how to bring up the divorce with me. I spoke first. Lin Ran, I came here today to talk about the divorce. Lin Ran looked at me in surprise. Why? I sneered inwardly. Why else, of course, to make way for your love with Jiang Lin, but I remained expressionless on the surface. To avoid arguing, I stated the reason I had already thought of. We've known each other for so many years, and then we suddenly got married. Actually, I still think of you as a friend. After we got married, I felt awkward, so I think we should get divorced and go back to being friends. Lin Ran's eyes showed surprise and conflict after hearing my words. I didn't understand what she was conflicted about. Wasn't this a great opportunity right in front of her? Maybe she thought that even if we divorced, she shouldn't be the one to bring it up, but I didn't think about what she was thinking and continued this way. If you meet someone you like in the future, you could be with them better, right? Lynn Rand relaxed a little after hearing this. She was tempted, but still hesitated. What about my parents and your uncles and aunts? I said, it's okay. Just tell them the truth. At most, we'll get scolded. Lynn Rand felt relieved upon hearing this. Okay, in that case, I'll draft the contract and send it to you. I'll give you more company shares, and I don't want the apartment or the car. As for your company shares, I'll leave them to you too. I was very satisfied with Lynn Rand's words. This was the least she could do. As for her company shares, I deserve them. If it weren't for me in the beginning, her company wouldn't have been able to operate successfully. After we finished discussing the matter, I buttoned up my coat and got up to leave. Lynn Rand was very efficient. She gave me the agreement in just 3 days. But just before I was about to sign it, she suddenly took the agreement away. An emotion I couldn't understand flashed in her eyes. And then she asked me awkwardly, have you really thought it through? Are you sure you want a divorce? I took the divorce agreement from her and signed it. Then, with her somewhat ugly expression, I said, of course, didn't we already agree? She watched me sign the document, her hand clenching unconsciously. Then, as if she thought of something, she let go. She smiled and looked at me. Okay, I'm just making sure. After dividing the assets, we obtained our divorce certificate. Then, I officially announced the divorce on social media. Besides receiving scolding phone calls from my parents, I also received a call from an unfamiliar number. Hello? Hello? Who is this? The other party was silent for a moment, then spoke. It's me, Jiang Lin. I want to meet you. I met Jiang Lin at a bar. He looked terrible when he saw me. Before I could say anything, he questioned me. You and Ran are divorced. Why did you take so many of her shares? I raised an eyebrow at his words. Everything I took, I deserved. Lin Ran hasn't said anything. Who are you to question me? Hearing my question, Jiang Lin wore a smug expression. You don't know, do you? Ran and I are together. She's always loved me. As for now, of course, I'm questioning you as Ran's future husband. I sneered inwardly. So, he's just reborn, not smarter. I can't even understand how I was driven to desperation by someone like this in my past life. I looked at the wine glass in front of me, smiled slightly, took a small sip, and then said to him, first, everything I got was in exchange for my years of contribution to her company. I deserve it. Second, no matter how much I took, whether I should have taken it or not, it's none of your business. If you were smart, you wouldn't have come here to question me. It only exposes your already low IQ. Jiang Lin's face darkened like the bottom of a pot. He almost jumped up to punch me, but he quickly restrained himself. He sat back in his seat and suddenly smiled at me. I won't argue with a loser like you. Even if you take those shares, you have to have the ability to hold on to them. Otherwise, I'll make you even worse off than you were in your last life. I noticed the hatred in his eyes when he said that my situation in my past life was entirely due to those two, and he still had the nerve to bring it up. After he said that, he realized he'd let something slip and subconsciously raised his glass to cover it up. How did you two get together? It was Lin Ran's voice from behind. Ran, you're here? Jiang Lin said happily. Lin Ran frowned when she saw me there too. But then, as if she had thought of something, she glanced guiltily at Jiang Lin before greeting me. How you? What are you doing here? I didn't answer, but looked at Jiang Lin. Seeing this, Jiang Lin hurried forward to greet her, and then explained, I just ran into him, so I had a drink with him. Lin Ran nodded, but then said to me, how you? We're divorced. I believe things have been made clear. Don't try to find out my whereabouts anymore, although I know you might be a little unwilling or unable to let go. But as you said, we're just friends. I hope you'll be mindful of the boundaries. Hearing Lin Ran's words, I knew she misunderstood. Thinking I was here to cause trouble for Jiang Lin, did she think my divorce proposal was just a strategic retreat? That I hadn't really let her go? I found it amusing. Since we're divorced, please keep an eye on your boyfriend. As for how many shares I got, it's not his place to comment. Jiang Lin looked flustered when he heard what I said, but then he grabbed Lin Ran's hand. Ran, I'm just upset that he took so much from you. Lin Ran's expression wasn't good, and then she said, I told you, those shares were originally his. But the company is yours. It has nothing to do with him. Why should he? Jiang Lin was impoverished in his last life, so how could he be willing to watch so much money slip through his fingers into my hands in this life? Okay, I said, how you helped with the creation of the company, and those shares are his original contributions and investment. I explained that to you, didn't I? Besides, don't you know why I gave him more shares to divorce him? It was so I could be with you sooner. Jiang Lin's face wasn't good, and then he said, Ran, how can you say that? I had no intention of watching them bicker anymore, so I said, I don't care what you do, but if you harass me again, I don't mind making the two of you famous. Lin Ran, you know my capabilities. After speaking, I ignored their ugly expressions, picked up the suit jacket from the chair, and left. Lin Ran looked perplexed as I left. Her hand tightened. She stared blankly at my departing back. Perhaps she hadn't expected me to let go so easily, and there was incomprehension in her eyes, but she was quickly pulled away by Jiang Lin and forgot the emotion she just had. Since that last incident, neither of them has contacted me again. My parents also returned during this time. Lin Ran's parents also returned from abroad. When they returned and saw a man next to their newly divorced daughter, and that the two were amorous with each other, they more or less understood what was going on. So, they personally came to my door to apologize. My parents were angry in their hearts. But after all, this matter had little to do with the two elders. Only their faces were slightly cold, but they didn't say anything after all. However, after they left, my father decided to have less contact with their family. My mother also agreed. Even if it had little to do with them, parents always sided with their children, and Lin Ran was their only daughter. Just looking at how they didn't object much to Lin Ran and Jiang Lin's affair, you knew they were actually on Lin Ran's side. I listened to my mother's words and expressed my agreement. After no longer entangled with Lin Ran, my career began to take off. First was the successful establishment of the branch company. In addition, as the business gradually expanded, many people began to seek cooperation. My reputation and the company grew bigger and bigger. However, some people who knew about my relationship with Lin Ran before couldn't help but share gossip about Jiang Lin and Lin Ran when they came to me. After all, the two of them were now the talk of the town. Wasn't this just the drama of a domineering female, CEO, keeping a boy toy? So I learned that Lin Ran had been fiercely fighting with the female lead, Zhao Xing, recently. Zhao Xing was a celebrity in the entertainment industry, and it was impossible for her not to have some capital backing her. So she disregarded public opinion and cried, saying she had been abandoned by her ex-boyfriend and that her boyfriend had threatened her to curry favor with a sugar mama. Lin Ran began fighting with Zhao Xing for Jiang Lin. The two of them started fighting over who Jiang Lin's heart truly belonged to the point where almost everyone knew about it. But in the end, Lin Ran couldn't silence the public. Countless netizens began to scold Lin Ran and Jiang Lin. Netizens boycotted Lin Ran's company's products, and companies that had previously competed with Lin Ran also jumped in to add fuel to the fire. So in this chaotic battle, Lin Ran was mostly at a disadvantage. Many people were secretly watching Lin Ran's jokes, and when they saw me, Lin Ran's ex-husband, they couldn't help but share. I ate a lot of melons, gossip. I could also clearly feel that Lin Ran's company was gradually declining. If she didn't remedy the situation, bankruptcy was a sure thing. I wondered if Jiang Lin had ever regretted it. The female lead he abandoned was now completely famous because of this popularity, while Lin Ran, whom he had chosen, was slowly declining. I don't know if he regretted it, but I regretted it. I regretted not teaching the two of them a lesson properly back then, so they thought I was easy to bully. So when their wedding invitation was delivered to me, I was extremely angry. I took out my phone and found Lin Ran's number, which I had already blacklisted. She always called me for various reasons, but I knew those were just her excuses, so after buying shares in her company, I immediately blacklisted her. The phone was connected quickly. Lin Ran seemed to have expected me to contact her. Her tone carried a triumphant smile. I knew you would call me, how you? We've been friends for so many years. Even if there was some unpleasantness before, that's all in the past. Lin and I still hope to receive your blessing. So I took the liberty of sending you an invitation. I hope you can come. I took a deep breath, almost speechless. Lin Ran, are you sick? Who would want their ex-husband to come to their wedding to offer blessings? Besides, I have nothing to do with you anymore. Can you be self-aware and stop bothering me? Lin Ran's tone was wrong. Don't be angry. You and Lin had some misunderstandings before. I apologize on his behalf, but I really hope you can come to my wedding. Without your blessing, I feel like something is missing. It was Lin who suggested sending you an invitation. He also wants to apologize to you in person and hopes to be friends with you. Just give me face for the sake of our many years of friendship. Okay? I sneered. Fine, since you want me to witness your wedding so much, then I will give you a big gift. Okay, since you want me to go so much, then I'll go. It's great that you can see things clearly. We'll be waiting for you. I hung up the phone and sneered. Wait until your wedding is over, then see if you can still smile. On the day of the wedding, I wore an expensive custom-made suit. I wasn't bad-looking myself, and coupled with the temperament I had developed since childhood, I had a strong aura. When I arrived at the hotel, the wedding guests who had already arrived couldn't help but whisper, Why is Su Hao Yu here? Isn't he Lin Ran's ex-husband? Yes, isn't he embarrassed? I heard that Lin Ran and her husband sent in the invitation. I thought he wouldn't come, but I didn't expect him to actually come. This is going to be a good show. That's right. It seems he's still infatuated with Lin Ran. He's even coming to such an occasion. I ignored the gossiping guests and walked straight to Lin Ran's parents, Uncle and Annie. I was thinking I wouldn't join the fun, but Lin Ran called me several times, asking me to come no matter what, saying she would regret it for the rest of her life if she didn't get my blessing. So I had no choice but to come. I said directly, letting them know that it wasn't that I wanted to come, but that their daughter was shamelessly begging me to come. Lin Ran's parents and I hadn't seen each other for about half a year. They looked a bit older than before. Clearly, the two of them had been worrying a lot lately. Hearing me say this, they both felt very uncomfortable. Lin's father forced a smile and exchanged a few pleasantries with me, mostly about how my business had been improving recently. Then he made an excuse and retreated inside, probably to argue with Lin Ran. Lin's mother sighed. Xiao Su, we're sorry for what happened to you. Don't say that, Annie. These grievances are between Lin Ran and me. It has nothing to do with you two. You have nothing to be sorry for. Lin's mother looked worried. We still can't persuade her. You said everything was so good before. Why did she have to make such a fuss and want to be with someone else? I sneered inwardly. How else? Because she's the second female lead, deeply in love with someone else. It seemed that Lin Ran's parents didn't like Jiang Lin very much. Otherwise, they wouldn't have said these things. The wedding started soon. Lin Ran and Jiang Lin exchanged rings on the stage. Both of them had happy smiles on their faces. Seeing this scene, the guests below couldn't help but say, it seems Lin Ran really loves Jiang Lin. She never smiled when she married Su Hao Yu before. Look how soon Lin Ran remarried after they divorced. Who knows what kind of shenanigans they were up to before. Accompanied by whispers, some people's gazes fell on me subtly. I looked back at them one by one, whether they were mocking or curious. Those people couldn't withstand my gaze and turned their heads away in embarrassment. Did they really think I was easy to bully? At this time, the two people on stage also mentioned me. Lin Ran held a microphone, looking deeply in love. Although how you and I are divorced, we grew up together since we were young and are friends of many years. He is also here today to send his blessings to me and Lin's wedding. I stood up, straightened my suit, and went on stage. I was half a head taller than Jiang Lin. As soon as I got on stage, my aura overshadowed him, making him unnoticeable, and his face immediately didn't look too good. I calmly took the microphone and began my hunting time. I looked at Jiang Lin, who was provocatively staring at me, and then said, I'm sure everyone knows who I am. If you don't, it doesn't matter. I'm Su Hao Yu, Lin Ran's ex-husband, divorced for half a year. I really shouldn't be here at this kind of occasion, but the bride and groom insisted on inviting me so enthusiastically, sending the invitation to my company. How could I not come? Lin Ran's face was very bad when she heard this. Jiang Lin subconsciously wanted to grab the microphone, but due to the difference in height and build, I blocked him with one hand. Before we got divorced, it was okay that you two were intimate. Anyway, we didn't have much affection, It was good to get divorced, but you don't understand that a qualified ex should be like a dead person, sending me text messages and calling me to harass me every other day. You wouldn't think I still want to see you too, would you? Stop dreaming. Lynn Rand, you really disgust me now. People below buzzed with discussion. There had been rumors that the two of them hooked up before the divorce. Now, with my words, the rumor was confirmed. Jiang Lin heard this and angrily stepped forward. Su Haoyu, what nonsense are you talking about? Don't listen to him. Everyone, he just wants to ruin my wedding with Ran Ran. I sneered when I heard this. Don't believe me? Then please look at the big screen. As my voice fell, the big screen began to play the footage I had recorded outside Lin Rand's office. The footage showed the two embracing and exchanging heartfelt words, all proving the truth of what I said, coupled with the fact that the online community was now scolding Lin Ran and Jiang Lin. Even if they jumped into the Yellow River, they couldn't clear their names. Before the wedding, I went to the projection room, but no one was there, so I uploaded the video to give everyone a little shock. My actions were so fast that they couldn't stop me, and they could only watch the footage on the big screen. At this point, Jiang Lin, with red eyes, wanted to come over and hit me, but he was no match for me and was knocked to the ground with one punch. I had been holding back this punch for a long time. Jiang Lin frantically ordered people to turn off the big screen, while Lin Ran sat on the ground with a pale face. Looking at the chaotic wedding scene, I felt unspeakably happy. Serves you right for disgusting me. I took advantage of the fact that Lin Ran and Jiang Lin were cleaning up the mess and left. I had already delivered the big gift, so I wouldn't stay any longer, but I believed that the two of them would never forget this wedding. A few days later, I heard from friend what happened after I left. Lin Ran's parents argued fiercely with Lin Ran. Lin's father bluntly said that he would not agree to Lin Ran being with Jiang Lin. He also said that Jiang Lin had character problems, knowing that Lin Ran had a husband and still hooking up with her, and was obviously not a good person. Lin Ran cried and made a fuss, disagreeing, and Lin's father angrily took Lin's mother and moved to another city. He also said that as long as Lin Ran was with Jiang Lin, they would not recognize Lin Ran as their daughter. After arguing with her parents, Lin Ran had another argument with Jiang Lin. The reason was that Jiang Lin said he wanted to take revenge on me and asked Lin Ran to help him. But Lin Ran didn't agree. Not to mention that her company couldn't compete with mine at all. She probably still wanted to leave a good impression on me, so she would have one more path to take in the future. Jiang Lin, on the other hand, thought that Lin Ran still had me in her heart, and argued that Lin Ran didn't love him at all and wasn't willing to sacrifice for him. The two began to argue constantly. Zhao Xing also kept hounding the two of them. Now, Lin Ran could be said to be beset on all sides, both physically and mentally exhausted. As the saying goes, if you lose in love, you gain in career. Although I couldn't be considered to have lost in love, I was indeed successful in my career. I successively landed many large orders both at home and abroad, which made many people jealous. Then my company won the top spot in the local rankings in one fell swoop and became a true leading enterprise. Jiang Lin was very jealous and always wanted to find an opportunity to take revenge on me. So he used his position to collude with a company that competed with me and tried to trip me up. But instead, he was scammed by that company, completely cutting off the hope that Lin Ran's company still had. Lin Ran was so angry when she found out, and after a big fight with Jiang Lin actually left. My career was steadily improving, so much so that I stopped paying attention to Lin Ran and Jiang Lin's situation. It wasn't until Lin Ran blocked me at the door of my office that I learned that Lin Ran's company was about to go bankrupt. I rubbed my temples, which were a little sore from looking at the documents earlier, and asked Lin Ran, "What do you want?" Lin Ran no longer had her usual aloof appearance. At this time, she was no different from other women. Her tone was pleading and tentative. "How you? I was bewitched before. The one I should have loved was you. Jiang Lin only gives me trouble, only asks me for money because of that bastard. My company is about to be acquired." I listened to her sob a bunch, without saying the purpose of her visit, so I directly interrupted her. "Speak. What are you here for? Get to the point." She choked for a moment. "How you? Do we still have a chance to be together?" I just wanted to roll my eyes without regard for my image when I heard this, but I still held back. "If you have nothing else, hurry up and leave. I'm about to get off work, and I have an appointment later. Lynn Ran actually threw herself into my arms when she heard this. She cried and hugged me. No, how you? Don't abandon me. I know I was wrong. Actually, you care about me too, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have disrupted my wedding. I know. You still love me in your heart. I'm sorry. I didn't realize your good qualities before. Let's get back together, okay? Let's go back to the past. Let's live a good life, okay? I pushed her away and couldn't help but want to swear at her. Why did I think she was aloof and noble before? She was clearly a shameless scum woman. Get out. Get as far away as possible. Don't come and disgust me. Lynn Rand still wanted to come closer and pull me when she heard this. How you listen to me? I've already broken up with Jiang Lin. Security. Security. Throw her out for me, and don't let her enter our company again in the future. Losing patience, I directly called the security guards. The security guard were already waiting outside the door after receiving the news, and they rushed in and dragged Lynn Ran away. But when she couldn't see me at the company, she started blocking me in other places. In the end, I directly found someone to take my place for a while, and then took my parents on a trip abroad. I was gone for a month, and when I came back again, I learned that Lin Ran's company had finally been acquired by someone else, and Jiang Lin had actually returned to Zhao Xing's embrace. He had thought that as long as he followed Lin Ran, he could take shortcuts to success, but after following Lin Ran, he realized that he couldn't stand Lin Ran's aggressiveness. He still liked Zhao Xing's gentleness and pleasantness. Lin Ran was deeply traumatized and fell ill, lying in bed for a long time. Later, she actually chose to jump off a building and commit suicide. Although she was rescued, she became a vegetable. As for Jiang Lin, his affair with Zhao Xing became widely known. Zhao Xing was also chased and scolded by netizens for being love-brained. But no one expected that Zhao Xing would actually dump Jiang Lin in the end. Just like in her previous life, Zhao Xing cheated. Jiang Lin gained nothing, but was instead beaten up by Zhao Xing. Now, he no longer had Lin Ran as a fallback. In the end, he actually went to work in a factory, screwing in screws. As for me, after returning from abroad, I had been focusing on my career. 3 years later, I got married again. This time, this girl was the one I chose myself. I believed that she would be with me to the end.